The Wisconsin Department of Health Services has launched a new digital education campaign. The goal is to highlight the dangers of menthol tobacco products. This comes as the DHS is working to combat the increased use of menthol tobacco in certain communities where the statistics of menthol use and sales is higher. Each year, over 7,000 people in Wisconsin die from tobacco use. The campaign will inform people about the risks of menthol addiction and the harm that can come from using menthol products.